I'm really, really grateful to introduce Christine to you, because Christine nurtured me and qualified tutor 18 or so months ago in a really, really intensive way. And it was a really important process in building the confidence and the mindset to be able to stand here and create something that will be lasting and contribute to lasting change in education. And it's a great big audacious goal that I've set myself, and Christine has been integral in helping me to have the confidence to do that. So what I'm doing here is giving you a gift of the same support and insights. So enjoy, even though you're digesting. I don't want you to drop off. I don't want you to slow down. I want you to make use of this awesome opportunity. Thank you, Christine.
Hello, and welcome. I know that you've had a good couple of days, and I think this is my clicker.
It is.
I know you've had a really good couple of days, and we're in the home stretch. There's only a couple more things left to do. And I also know that you've just had some delicious, highly sugar cake, and fabulous food. So during this speech, I am going to try and keep you awake. I want as much participation at the end. So there will be loads of questions. If you've got a pen in your hand, just jot them down. We'll go right the way through them at the end. And even if we run out of time for questions, I'm going to be sticking around, so please just come and ask me. There's no such thing as a stupid question. You all know that because you're all qualified tutors. The only stupid question is the one that you don't ask. So please don't leave here thinking, I wish I'd asked that. But if you do, then there'll always be an opportunity for you to ask me anyway. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is actually the business side of building your tutoring practice, with some real practical tips on building the business. But first of all, I'm really going to go into the mindset. So who am I? Well, my name's Christine Nicholson. I've been UK Business Mentor of the Year for the last 4 years. And I'm an author, so I've written books about running businesses. I'm a speaker. I regularly speak. I spoke at another event yesterday in a completely different industry sector. And I'm a professional, qualified and experienced business mentor, in the same way that you are all professional, qualified, credentialed, and experienced tutors. And if you're not that today, you will be that in the future. And it's a mindset I really want you to think about: qualified, professional, experienced, because all of these things will actually build the confidence that you're going to have in the future. Now, in the past, I have run a zoo. I have built and sold equipment to spies, and I've built healthcare businesses from absolute scratch right the way through to purpose-built head trauma units. So as you can see, I've had a fairly broad range of experience. And one of the reasons why I've coped with all the different industry sectors and anything that anybody's ever thrown at me is because I've had these next 7 mindsets. So I'm going to go through them one by one very, very quickly, because what I think is important is when you're building your business is to understand that actually the mindset that you go in with is as important as what you actually do from a business practice perspective. So I really want you to kind of dial into some of these mindsets and think about them every single day, because some of these things you're going to score 10 out of 10 and I'm going to have absolutely no problem. Some of you will have no problem with confidence, but what you will have maybe is some issues with some of the other mindset factors. And what we want to do is dial them all up to 10 out of 10, because that's how you give the best value to your clients. So I'm going to talk about confidence, because from what I've seen is you're all qualified, professional, experienced, but not actually stepping into that big mantle of being qualified, professional, experience. If you don't believe it, if you don't have the confidence in it yourself, you're never going to exude that to the people that are going to make a difference to. And one of the things that you've got is multiple clients. You're possibly working with schools. You're certainly being paid by somebody other than the student who is the person that you're going to have the biggest impact in. When you walk in that room with confidence, it's like having your own cheerleader. So you're going to have 3 cheerleaders. You are going to be your best cheerleader. You've also got your community to be a cheerleader, and possibly some of you will have your mentors or your coaches or your clients who will be your cheerleaders too. But I want you to think of confidence as having an invisible cheerleader, and most of it has to come from within. But remember, you're going to have the confidence of being qualified, credentialed, experienced, professional, and being part of this really good community. Your community is going to be some of the things that feed you some of that confidence food. But I really want you to take on board the need for you to build. It's your responsibility to build your confidence. Sometimes that's just talking to yourself in the mirror. It's about telling yourself that you're qualified, experienced, and professional. And then because I do it. I walk into a room thinking, why would anybody want to listen to me? And then I go, because I'm qualified, because I'm experienced. You can't take my qualifications away from me. You can't take my experience with me away from me. And I choose to turn up as a professional. So then it's all about courage. And actually, I am an extreme introvert. Nobody ever believes that. I'm assertively friendly because I've trained myself to be assertively friendly. And part of that is courage. It's not that I'm not afraid. It's that I feel the fear and do it anyway, because I know that's going to make a positive impact to my life. And it's also going to make a positive impact to my clients. If I come into my clients and go, oh God, I'm so timid, I'm so frightened. It doesn't serve me, it doesn't serve them. So you literally have to put that mantle of courage on. And it usually comes after a little self-talk in the mirror, which is the confidence of, I've got something that's valuable to share. And if one person takes something from this message, then that is the value that I've shared. If one person every day takes something away from you, whether it's a parent who's now feeling more comfortable about the fact that they're looking after their child's educational needs, whether it's the student themselves who has that aha breakthrough, whether it's the fact that a parent is actually talking more confidently about their child, feeling more confident in their abilities as a parent. These are the things that you bring by being brave, stepping out and saying, I am a qualified, experienced, professional tutor, and I've got some value to offer. This is one of my favorite quotes. When in hell, keep going. And there are going to be times when you're not feeling that confident, you're not feeling that courageous. But you're all sat here, whether you're in this room or whether you're at home, because you believe in what you have to offer, the value that you have to give. Because you are making a difference. If you want to change the world, these brilliant postcards, if you want to change the world, you've got to start with yourself. And that really comes from believing in yourself. And you've got to have the tenacity to keep believing, to keep turning up with that courage. Tenacity is all about sticking with it. There was a famous speech by Madonna. I know that's not what you're expecting me to say. But she was accepting a Lifetime Award. And she walked on the stage, and it meant Madonna, for goodness sake. And you could see that she was shaking as she stepped on the stage. So it's not that she doesn't feel the fear. She still stepped on the stage. And eventually she settled into it. And she said, people think I've been controversial my entire career. I've done one controversial thing. I stuck around. And that's all she's done. The controversial thing that she did was stuck around. And the one controversial thing that you can do is actually stick with it. Because one thing I know about tutors is you're all outcome orientated. The real value that you offer is the change that your students are going to experience, the change that the parents of those students are going to experience in the confidence that they're going to have as doing the right thing for their children, the change in behavior and outcomes that your students are going to experience, but also the change in the outcomes that you're going to experience for yourselves. Because, at the risk of repeating myself, because you're here, you're qualified, you're credentialed, You're experienced and gaining experience, and you're all professional and are going to hold yourself to a higher standard than people who aren't credentialed and who aren't experienced. You're going to be the role models for those who aren't experienced but are actually bringing themselves forward, as tutoring isn't necessarily plan B. In fact, tutoring isn't plan B. It might be plan A 2.0, because we all wake up and make a decision based on today's situation. And it could be that it's plan A parallel to the other plan A that you had. This is an additional stream of work, well-being, and income. But it all boils down to outcome orientation. I don't really need to say anything about passion. You're all here. Like, if you weren't passionate about tutoring, you wouldn't be here, would you? But passion is what drives people. When you're doing what you feel passionate about, everything feels like it's flow. It feels easy. When you're doing something that you don't feel passionate about, it's going to feel like treacle, or your energy levels are going to dip. It's going to feel like you just ate that cake about 20 minutes ago. I'm actually very impressed. I can't see anybody doing the whole sugar crash just yet, but don't worry, I'm on the hunt for it. But people will believe you and enjoy working with you more if you're bringing that passion to the fore. They don't really care about whether you've got 15 PhDs or not. They want to know that you're professional, qualified, experienced enough for whatever it is that you're doing, and actually passion bombs all of that out of the water. And again, I don't really need to talk about self-improvement, because you're here. Here at the biggest self-improvement conference for your industry. You're all breaking the boundaries of what tutoring is about. You know, this isn't something that you do as a sideline anymore. This is actually something that you've got a driving passion for, to get qualified, to get more experience, to behave in a professional way, to stand up and role model the next round of tutors that come through. And it all comes together with teamwork. So if you want to go fast, you can go alone. If you want to go far, you've got to go together. And the great thing about the Love Tutoring Festival and actually Qualified Tutor is the community, because you all get to support each other. I remember listening to the Moonpig guy, can't remember his name, Nick Jenkins. Nick Jenkins founded Moonpig, and which he then, actually having thrown every penny of everything that he owned into this business, eventually sold it for, I think it was 120 million. And I remember going to an entrepreneurs event where he was talking, and he walked on stage, and all the entrepreneurs, we were like Fraggles. It was like, yay, Nick, yay, yay, yeah, me, Nick. And he said, I love going into rooms with entrepreneurs. He said, because, you all help each other. He said, even if you're in the same industry, you're business owners, you know the ups and downs, and you know all the drama that goes on. He says, I think it was his girlfriend, it might be his wife. She's a physiotherapist. He said, they're all bitching about each other and stabbing each other in the back. He said, it's horrible. He said, but you're in a community that really supports each other. You all do something slightly different. Yeah, you're qualified, you're experienced, you're professional. You've all got your own unique personality. You've all got your unique skills and your the subjects that you teach. And you will all do it in a very different way. But that's great, because you've got this community to celebrate it in. And actually, that's the real value of teamwork. Teamwork is about community. It's about your community, your team, being your cheerleaders. Okay, so I really wanted to set the scene with all of that, because actually I wanted you to all feel elevated about what it is that you do. You're the game changers for the next generation and generations to come. You're going to role model the next round of tutors. You're literally pioneering the way for what really good tutoring looks like, but it is a business. So I'm going to just talk about three things very briefly, because the first thing is marketing. No business gets anywhere without marketing. And one of the things I hear is people saying, got to get into social media, got to get on Facebook, or got to use Snapchat, or whatever it is. And actually, that's just a medium and a media. But when it comes to marketing, the three big things are know your market, i.e. who your customers are. And your customers are going to be the people that you serve, but also the people who pay you. It's really important to remember the people that you pay, that are paying you. So really understand your market, then understand your message before you even start thinking about the media or medium that you're going to transmit on. There's no point in being on Facebook if you haven't got a decent message that's actually targeted directly at the person or persons that are going to be buying your service, handing over the money, and are actually receiving the service. So from a marketing perspective, what I just want you to think about, and you can go and find out all sorts of stuff about marketing, but if you just focus on those three things from a top-level perspective, then you'll be able to ask the right questions to get the right help, because it's always understand who it is that your market is. Some of you may be specialize in actually only tutoring within a school environment. You may only specialize in doing one-to-one A-levels in AS Maths. You might be, you may be, your market might be something else. You might be only tutoring very small groups. You might be SEN specialists. It doesn't matter what it is, but get clear on what your market is. Because I guarantee you one thing, your market is not every 16-year-old boy that's doing AS Maths. It will be a very specific niche. And the other thing is that your clients are those who are willing and able to pay. Unless you are absolutely doing the work pro bono, your clients are those who are willing and able to pay. So do keep that in mind. So let's talk about selling and pricing, because one thing I know is that most people absolutely hate selling. I hate it. And most people hate being sold to. But this is where we go back to the market message media, because if you've got the right message going directly to your market, it won't feel like selling. And the other thing about selling is that your service is of really high value to those who are your direct ideal customers, who are willing and able to pay, who recognize the value that you bring, because your outcome, in your mindset, you're outcome orientated. And if you make sure that all your messaging is actually dialed into, here's the value that I add. This is the difference I'm going to make. This is the transformation I'm going to make. Because, I'll go back to the postcard. It's, let's take the if off. You want to change the world. You want to change the world. Those words are on there, right as part of, if you want to change the world, start with yourself. You want to change the world. To do that, you have to add value to something. You have the value because you're qualified, experienced, professional. You've got this great community. So if you're not feeling that you can articulate your value very well, get together in your community. Then nothing will big you up in your own mind than the other members of your community telling you what's unique about you, in the same way that you can tell them what's unique about them, and actually really start to dial in and understand your value. Because pricing actually becomes really easy when you understand your value. If you understand your value, you would never start off with X price and then discount. And I know a lot of people do that. It's a really easy temptation to do. In fact, if you're anything like me a few years ago, somebody would say, oh, I really want to do business with you. What does it take? And I'd go, oh, well, and I'd apologize about the cost. And then I'd go, but don't worry, I can give you a discount. And they haven't asked for one. But I'm already, because I'm not my own customer, and I'm already devaluing what I do. And I'm like, really sorry for asking you for money. But now I recognize that I deal in transformation, and when I'm working with my ideal clients, the transformation is actually adding zeros onto the value of their business. One client that I worked with last year, we literally, in less than 12 months, added £1 million of value directly to their business in less than 1 year. And so, trust me, I didn't charge £1 million. Now, your transformation is probably a little less easy to measure in terms of direct pound notes, but it's really easy to measure in the impact that you have on kids and the people that you tutor. And it's really easy for you to see in the transformation from a parent who's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? My child is suffering, and all I want to do is help them be the best that they can be. And then you guys waltz in, and then they transform, and you can see them really flourishing. And what is the value that you're bringing? Well, you're bringing the fact that you're qualified, experienced, professional, and you've got the massive support of this great community. So I'm not going to tell you how to price your product. What I am doing is say, join up the pricing with the value that you add, and never apologize for what you're charging. Because if someone is unwilling to pay, they're not your customer. It's as simple as that. Your customers are willing and able to pay. And I do recognize that, particularly in tutoring, sometimes you're going to be working with people who literally, they are willing to pay if they had the money, but they don't have it. Or you're going to be working in perhaps public institutions where funding is going to be slightly more of a challenge for you. But here's what I do to make sure that I recognize the value every time I work with somebody where I'm doing it for free. Because at the end of the day, if I'm doing it for free, I'm literally giving money away, which is a bit like donating money to charity. So what I do is I always raise an invoice to that customer and give them a 100% discount, and does two things. It lets them recognize the value that they're receiving, and it lets me recognize the value that I'm giving away. But it also keeps me dialed in to the value that I have, that I'm giving. So the final thing that I want to really talk about is efficiency. And actually, it's a bit of a misnomer to say efficiency, because what I really want to do is I want to talk about AI. Because I've been to a couple of AI conferences just recently, and there's lots of business owners in just about every sector, and they're going, oh, God, yeah, I'm going to be out of a job. Oh, God, yeah, my business is going to be worth nothing. But actually, AI is an efficiency tool. Actually, for most things, AI in the tools that we use aren't actually AI. They're usually large language models or machine learning. And what you can do is actually use them. If you think about doing anything repetitively, you can use these little AI tools, and you join them up, and they do all the boring stuff, particularly admin and all of that stuff. But I have heard people say, oh, well, there'll be no need for teachers because of AI. There'll be no need for tutors. Oh, we'll just ask the Google. The Google has all the answers, but the Google doesn't know which questions to ask, and neither does AI. And the ability to ask the right questions is what you have in the fact that you are qualified, that you are experienced, that you are professional, that you have the human experience, because AI isn't human. I mean, eventually it's going to learn to ask smarter and smarter questions, but they're never going to ask the smartest questions. So I would encourage you to embrace AI tools, to increase your efficiency, so that you get out of all the stuff that's really boring. I don't know. I'm an accountant, and I don't know anybody who enjoys spending Sunday evening raising invoices. Don't enjoy it. No. I don't enjoy it. I don't know anybody who does. Well, there's a few. I'm going to use the word sick individuals. And I mean it with love and warmth. But they're weird. In the same way that I'm pretty sure that if you're not being paid, you don't enjoy chasing people up for money either. But you can automate all of that. I mean, obviously, you can't make people write the check and send the money, but you can actually send them a reminder. And you can actually do it all without actually getting involved. So all the things that make you feel a bit, I'm going to leave that till the end of the end. And I'm going to leave it, and I'm going to leave it, and I'm going to leave it until I can't leave it anymore. But then I'm going to still leave it another week. All of those things, just think of if you can automate. Or even better, get someone else to do it. Or even better than that, get someone else to automate it. Because when you're passionate about something, which goes back to that original mindset piece, when you're really passionate about something, you feel like you're in flow. Time becomes really elastic when you're feeling when you're actually doing what you're born to do, the things that are adding the most value, the things that add the littlest amount of value but are just actually fundamentally necessary. They are going to feel like wading through treacle. It's where you're going to have, when you have that feeling like when in hell, keep going. And so if you have that, oh God, I'm in hell moment, then it's time to, I think, is there somebody else or some other way of being able to do this? So what I really wanted to do was make sure that I didn't spend all of my time filling the space, because I could talk for hours about this stuff, and make sure that I left lots of time for questions. Because as far as I'm concerned, you are all qualified, experienced, professional. You're all passionate. You've got most of the right mindsets, which are the ones that you feel the weakest. If you think about the 7, which are the ones that are the weakest, be really honest with yourself. The slides will be shared, by the way. And then think about the ones that you have to work on. And if it's confidence, how many cheerleaders are in your community? If it's tenacity, if it's like, oh, I'm not sure I can keep going, again, come back to your community. And actually, if you don't feel like you can step forward, I know Hannah's going to talk about well-being in a moment. But if you don't feel like you can go forward, maybe you need to have an honest conversation about whether what you're actually doing is what you should be doing. Because it could be tutoring is at the heart of what you do. It's just that the way you're doing it might not be for you. You might just need to change something about it. So ultimately, what are you waiting for? I want you to go out there and I want you to change the world, because that's what you were born to do. I want you to go out there as qualified, professional, experienced tutors that are changing the world, starting with yourself and everybody else around you. Questions? I can see you're all stunned, or at least you're not asleep, unless you're like horses and you can sleep with your eyes open.
I have a question, sorry, from our online community, if that's all right. The chat has been lit, to use what the kids say. I know, I didn't deliver that very well. This has probably been, I've been manning the chat for the last 2 days, and this has probably been one of the liveliest chats in terms of, I've been asking people to lean in and rate themselves on the mindsets that you've been talking about, some of the reasons behind it. We've had some really lovely things coming through here. And one of the questions that we've got from Lucy online, she's talking about this idea about trying to get to know your audience, and different ways that you can do that, and how you can almost have an onboarding sort of process that is not too onerous, because a lot of our clients are parents that might not necessarily be initiated in that way. So some ideas about perhaps how we can onboard parents and clients that you might have found that are very efficient and streamlined and effective.
Okay.
Please.
The one thing I will say... Oh, sorry. Realised I was not on camera. So one of the things I will say about onboarding, this is an efficiency thing. Keep it really simple. I mean, your parents have got things that they're worried about, which is usually a child who's not achieving its educational potential. Last thing they want to be worrying about is filling 15 million forms in. And it may be that your onboarding is what's really essential to get started. So if you think about it, I want you to have moments of complete selfishness for the moment. What's really essential for you? You want to make sure that you're taking on the right student, that you've got a parent that you can work with, and you want to be paid. So get all of that stuff out right at the very beginning. If nothing else, on board the how I'm going to get paid, and make that really easy. And you can automate that completely, including sending an invoice out with a link using cloud accounting. It takes less than 15 minutes to set up. You can set up a Stripe account. You can set up a Go Cardless account. None of them cost any money until you're receiving money, so you're not actually really investing in anything. But think about the things that's most important for you, get paid. Now think about the journey that the client is going to go through. And it could be that you just do this iteratively, but get the most important things in first. But the biggest thing is don't make it complicated. I've seen so many people bend themselves like paper clips trying to get reams and reams of information. If you don't need it, don't ask for it.
That's been really, really beneficial with a lot of people repeating some of the support on some of your sound bites online there. So thank you. Yeah.
Brilliant. Please. Haha.
I'm also a tutor, and this is a little bit of a cheat question, but I'm in a very competitive market. Someone said the third most competitive market in the world. If I do the same thing, use the same tools like Zoom as everybody, and I'm still trying to be different because I'm really worried about learning new things, what am I doing wrong?
Oh, well, for a start off, you're not doing anything wrong. Okay? You're delivering the value to your clients in your own unique way. No two people are the same. I'm going to answer a different question if this helps, and hopefully I will 3-point turn back into yours. One of the challenges that I find with people where their service is related to a start time and a finish time is they're selling time. You're not selling time. You're selling transformation. You're selling transformation of two key individuals, the child and the parent. So for me, to differentiate yourself from anyone else is to actually describe the service that you're giving in terms of the transformation that is going to be achieved. Nobody cares how you do it. They just care of, this is where I'm starting from, deep pain. This is where I want to be, deep joy. Okay, so sell the transformation and try and divorce the time for money element by selling a package of, this is the transformation that we're going to go through, because no one cares how you do it. So for me, as a professional business mentor, for example, I'm competing with people who aren't qualified, aren't experienced, certainly aren't professional, and will charge 1/10 of what I charge. I don't have any problem getting customers because I don't sell time for money. People who are selling an hour's coaching can't compete, because anybody who's willing to pay for an hour's coaching is paying for a very expensive coffee. What they get with me is, this is where you are, and I'm going to tell you where you are. You're going to tell me where you think you are. And probably this is pretty true for tutoring as well. Your student and your parent will maybe come in with two different stories of where they think they are. First thing you're going to do is tell them where they actually are. Then you're going to take them somewhere different, because that's where they want to go. It has nothing to do with time. It's to do with what happens in the time. So even if you've got a start time and a finish time, you are not selling time, you are selling transformation. Does that help?
Thank you.
Another one from the, sorry.
Oh, well, let's do an online one and then do an, yes.
Even. So another one from the Lit chat. What we've got here is, and I think this is something that doesn't have maybe a precise answer, but Kathleen asked online, and I think this is something that's quite pertinent to a lot of tutors. How do we overcome the feeling of being a tutor and not an entrepreneur? How do you sort of marry the two?
Oh, God, these are tough questions. Okay. Okay, let me be really brutal about the entrepreneur word. Because for me, the true definition of an entrepreneur is somebody who actually doesn't work in their business. You're a business owner, and your entire aim is to get out of the day-to-day of that business, and you're a business owner. But you're more than just a shareholder. You're not. I wouldn't class myself as an entrepreneur because I own shares in Shell, for example. But I do class myself as an entrepreneur when I owned 3 businesses all at the same time, because I literally couldn't be operating in all of them. So as a tutor for your tutoring practice, if you are working in it, then you are a business owner. It's slightly different, but you might have an entrepreneurial mindset. What was the first part of the question again?
I think it was about how to get out of the sort of the mindset, I suppose, of being a tutor,
Okay.
and then having that entrepreneurial approach to tuition.
Okay. So there's 2 things at play here, because being a tutor is being the technician. If your business is about tutoring, then you're sitting in one seat where you're delivering the value, where you're actually being the person to deliver exactly the transformation that you're selling. And then being a business owner is literally, this is how, making sure that the business runs smoothly, that you get paid, that you're getting and keeping customers. As a business owner, you only have 3 jobs: getting and keeping customers, staying legal, and making getting and keeping customers more efficient. That's the role of a business owner. Your job as a tutor is, it's a job in that business of getting, keeping customers, staying legal, and making that more efficient. But your job as a tutor is about the transformation of your client. So the two are actually fundamentally quite different. One's more of a process, and the other one is a vocation, particularly for tutors.
Thank you. I think that's really, really useful.
So I have a weird question.
Sorry.
It's kind of like linked to my own kind of dilemma, I guess, but I imagine lots of tutors have the same thing. You have different messages for different clients,
yes.
and they're vastly different.
Yep.
So one of my clients is actually other tutors, because I run like an agency. We work with special educational needs children, and we provide the opportunity to work during the daytime with those people, which often independent tutors can't get by themselves.
Yes.
So that's one thing. And
Yep.
then from my advocacy point of view, I have I would say sometimes negative opinions about things. And those two are like drastically different. And I really struggle sometimes to know if there's any strategies for how you would, I don't know, communicate those messages in different ways without one, because everyone always kind of knows me for tutoring and traveling, and that's like the last thing I want to be known for, but it seems to be the thing that sticks in everyone's mind.
Yeah, it's a toughie, because I'm kind of the same in that, most of my clients have got 2 to 50 million turnover businesses with 50 odd staff, and I work with the business owner and the team. But equally, I've spent the last 30 years mentoring women particularly through the finance qualification, because I'm an accountant, into senior roles, 2 completely different markets. And frankly, I only really market one. So I don't market the fact that I mentor women into senior finance roles at all. I used to try, but it was such a mixed message. I personally just stuck with one message. So I would actually get your message really sharp around the thing that you really want to be known for, and everything that you're currently known for. And again, some marketeers out there are probably screaming at the screen. So I don't know everything, by the way, much as I would like to. And don't sound my ex-husband. But if it was me, what's the thing that you really want to make the impact with, and actually really focus on that message? And because the other thing that you are actually already known for isn't going to go away, but people will listen to the last thing that you said. And the alternative is, so first of all, focus on the one thing that you really want to. Where do you really want to be? Second thing, I'd probably get really comfortable with being schizophrenic. It's, they're two different parts of your business. And
I kind of describe it as an oxymoron, effectively.
Yeah. Look, I wear different clothes for the different roles that I play. So one of the things that I occasionally do is I occasionally do restructuring in business, which means that I'm often firing people. And I'm very fortunate to have worked with some fantastic people where the conversation that I'm having is the last conversation they're going to have in the job that they've got. And I have a green dress that I wear for that. It's literally the same green dress, and that's it. If I turn up in the green dress, we're beside you because you're going to be fired. But by wearing that green dress, I know... sorry, just making sure I'm not wearing the green dress today. But I have a personality in that green dress because I know that's the task that I've got. So I would definitely create two profiles for yourself, but focus on the thing that you want to be known for, and then don't worry about diffusing it, because if you stand in the message that you really want to transmit out there, and that's your primary focus, you'll be fine. Brilliant.
Oh, I've just got one more thing that the online community, it's got absolutely nothing to do with anything business related, but about 3 of our members online have just been saying that dress on camera, apparently. Capital letters, that dress. So yeah, you've come across very well, Christine, online. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And
If you want to get in touch with Christine, I highly recommend it on LinkedIn.
yeah, I'm
Yes?
very easy to find on LinkedIn. And any questions that you've got you didn't ask today, please don't hesitate. Just contact me. Because a bit like the old newscast podcast, I do read and answer everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Quick break, quick rest break, and then come back for a heavy dose of well-being.